The large man stood in the corner of my dark room, his puffy eyes barely visible beneath centuries of deep wrinkles. His every breath wheezed through his ancient lungs, strands of saliva stretching from his grotesquely oversized head. Despite his hunched frame, he towered close to 7 feet, his jagged nails evoking images of flesh torn apart with ease. I pressed against my bed, calculating whether I could reach the door before he could grab me. We stared at each other, locked in an unspoken stalemate. The first move would determine everything. The moment came when I flinched, just the smallest shift of my foot. His eyes widened to impossible proportions, his pinpoint pupils tracking my every motion. With a desperate cry, I flung my bed sheets toward him and scrambled toward the door. My fingers barely brushed the doorknob before I felt his grip, a sticky, warm grasp encasing my calf. I kicked and clawed, but his monstrous strength was overwhelming. He sniffed the air frantically, dragging me back with an unnatural ease. His laugh rumbled deep, guttural, slow. Then he did something I never expected. He let go. I bolted upright, only to be slammed against the wall before being placed back on my bed. This time he stood between me and escape, and then he spoke. "You called for me," my heart pounded. "What? Number I?" He pointed to the ground. "You call for me. Here I am." It wasn't possible. But then his jaw unhinged, and from his throat came my own voice, my own words from earlier that night. A desperate prayer, a plea for guidance, a guardian angel. The realization shattered me. I had begged for a sign, a purpose, and now this thing was standing before me, my angel. Without another word, he turned and walked through my door. Hesitant, terrified, yet unable to resist, I followed. We walked for over an hour, silent, unnoticed by the few passing cars. The journey ended at a foul-smelling canal. The angel pointed. Trembling, I shone my phone's flashlight. A body lay beneath the murky water, bloated, twisted, its neck contorted unnaturally. And then, the horror struck me. The body was mine. I staggered back. No, this isn't real. I'm not dead. But the angel only smiled wider, his black pupils rolling to white. I turned to run, but his icy grip found my throat. He lifted me effortlessly over the canal. "Get in," he hissed, shaking me violently. Below, flames erupted, licking at my dangling feet. The corpse writhed, insects spilling from beneath its clothes. And in the depths, countless voices wept and screamed in eternal agony. This was hell. This was my fate. The heat burned. The sobbing souls clawed at me from below. I fought, begged, swore to change, pleaded for mercy. And then, silence. The fire was gone. The bodies, the insects, the screams, all vanished. I collapsed, gasping. The angel stood over me, his grotesque face now eerily serene. "You don't want to die yet, do you, my child?" His voice was gentle, almost kind. I shook my head, unable to speak. He nodded. "You are loved. We are watching." For a moment, I saw what might have been wings unfold behind him. He reached out, pressing his hand to my forehead. Bliss washed over me. A warmth, a lightness I hadn't felt in years. Pure peace, purpose. Then just as quickly, it was ripped away. The visions that followed shattered my soul. I saw the fall of humanity, not in an instant, but as a slow descent. A crumbling of connection, truth becoming subjective, division deepening. Wars waged, disease spread, the planet withered, until at last madness overtook mankind. A savage, hateful existence remained, lost in endless suffering. The things we feared, the things we dismissed, they would be our undoing. I saw the monsters we would become. When the visions faded, I knelt before the angel, hollow. He smiled once more. "You know what you must do?" My answer was certain. "Yes." He pulled me into an embrace, whispering a hauntingly beautiful song, and then he was gone. I walked home, understanding what came next. The very next day I went to worship, not in just any place, but in the one the angel had revealed. The truth was clear. The fall was inevitable, and my faith, my community, we had a hand in it. But I didn't care, because I had purpose, a family, a reason to wake up each morning. Maybe in time I'd even forget this night. But one thing remains. I can still feel my angel's gaze upon me, along with the eyes of others lurking just beyond sight.